Every single night, millions of people wake up to use the bathroom not once, but 2, 3, sometimes even 5 times, and most of them believe the same thing. This is normal with age, but that belief is one of the biggest misconceptions in modern health. Waking up repeatedly at night to urinate is not just an inconvenience, it is a signal. A signal that something deeper in your body is not functioning the way it should. The surprising truth is that in the majority of cases, the bladder itself is not the problem at all. It's simply responding to changes happening elsewhere in your body. Yet most people spend years focusing on the wrong solution, taking supplements, restricting fluids, or blaming their prostate or bladder. The real cause often goes unnoticed, and as a result, the problem continues night after night, slowly affecting sleep, energy, and long-term health. What you're about to learn will completely change how you look at this issue, because once you understand what is actually happening inside your body at night, you'll realize this isn't something you just have to live with, it's something you can fix. There is a pattern that repeats itself night after night. You fall asleep, finally reaching a deep and restful state. Then suddenly, there is a signal, subtle at first, but impossible to ignore. You try to stay asleep, but the pressure builds. Eventually, you get up, walk to the bathroom, and disrupt your sleep cycle completely. When you return to bed, your mind is no longer quiet. Thoughts begin to race. It takes time to fall asleep again, only for the same cycle to repeat. By morning, you feel exhausted, unfocused, and dependent on caffeine just to function. This pattern may seem like a normal part of aging, but it is not. The human body is designed to sleep for long, uninterrupted periods. During the night, specific hormonal signals are supposed to reduce urine production and allow the body to rest. When this system is working correctly, there is no need to wake up repeatedly. When it fails, the consequences go beyond sleep disruption. It affects your brain, your heart, and your overall recovery process. At night, your brain releases a hormone that plays a critical role in regulating fluid balance. This hormone signals your kidneys to reduce urine production, allowing your body to conserve fluid and maintain stable conditions while you sleep. It essentially tells your system to slow down and operate in an energy-saving mode. This mechanism is what allows a healthy person to sleep for 7 to 8 hours without interruption. When this process is disrupted, kidneys continue to produce urine at higher levels during the night. This leads to repeated awakenings and fragmented sleep. The important point here is that this is not a minor issue, it is a breakdown in a fundamental biological system. Over time, repeated interruptions in deep sleep can lead to increased blood pressure, reduced cognitive function, and overall fatigue. Understanding this hormonal imbalance is key, because it shifts the focus away from the bladder and toward the systems that actually control fluid regulation in your body. Waking up multiple times at night does more than just disrupt your sleep, it places stress on your entire body. Each time you wake up, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure rises, and your body shifts out of its recovery state. Deep sleep is the phase where your brain clears waste, your cells repair themselves, and your cardiovascular system gets a true rest. Interrupting this phase repeatedly prevents your body from completing these essential processes. Over time, this can contribute to serious health issues, including hypertension, mental fatigue, and accelerated aging. Many people underestimate the impact of sleep disruption because the effects are gradual, but the long-term consequences are significant. This is not just about comfort, it's about protecting your health. Recognizing the importance of uninterrupted sleep is the first step toward understanding why nighttime urination should not be ignored. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming they already know the cause. Many believe it is related to the bladder, the prostate, or hormonal changes associated with aging. As a result, they focus on treating those areas. They reduce fluid intake, take supplements, or use medications aimed at the urinary system. But in many cases, these approaches fail to solve the problem. That's because they are targeting the symptom, not the source. The bladder is not the origin, it is simply responding to the volume of fluid being processed. The real question is not why you feel the urge, but why your body is producing excess urine at night in the first place. Once you shift your focus to that question, everything changes, because the answer often lies in how your body manages fluid distribution throughout the day and how that fluid is processed once you lie down at night. To understand what is actually causing repeated nighttime urination, you need to look beyond the bladder and focus on how your body manages fluid throughout the day. While you are standing or sitting, gravity is constantly pulling fluids downward. Blood, lymph, and interstitial fluid gradually move toward your lower body, especially your legs. In a healthy younger system, the veins and muscles actively push this fluid back upward, maintaining proper circulation. But as the body ages, or when physical activity is reduced, this mechanism becomes less efficient. The veins lose some of their elasticity, the valves inside them weaken, and the muscle pump that supports circulation slows down. As a result, fluid begins to accumulate in the tissues of the lower legs. This process is subtle and often goes unnoticed. There may be no obvious swelling, no discomfort, just a slight heaviness or indentation from socks. But inside the tissues, significant amounts of fluid can collect over the course of the day. This fluid is essentially stored outside the bloodstream, meaning your kidneys are not actively processing it yet. The key point is that this fluid does not disappear, it simply waits. And what happens to it later is what creates the problem during the night. The moment you lie down, everything changes. Gravity is no longer pulling fluid toward your legs. Instead, your body shifts into a horizontal position, allowing that accumulated fluid to move back into circulation. The fluid that was stored in the tissues of your lower body begins to re-enter your bloodstream. This process can happen relatively quickly, especially within the first hour of lying down. As this fluid returns to circulation, your total blood volume increases. From your body's perspective, it now appears as if there is excess fluid in the system. This sudden increase in circulating volume is not something your body ignores. It triggers a response designed to protect your heart from overload. Your cardiovascular system detects the increased pressure and activates mechanisms to remove the excess fluid. This is not a malfunction, it is a protective response, but the timing of this response is what creates the issue. Because instead of occurring during the day when you are active and awake, it is now happening during the night when your body should be resting. Once the fluid returns to your bloodstream, your body sends a clear signal to your kidneys. The message is simple: reduce the excess fluid to maintain balance. In response, your kidneys increase their filtration rate. They begin removing both water and sodium from your blood at a higher rate than normal. This leads to increased urine production. Because this process starts shortly after you lie down, the bladder begins to fill much sooner than it should during sleep. As a result, you feel the urge to urinate and wake up, but the process does not stop after the first cycle. The fluid stored in your tissues does not return all at once. It continues to move gradually into your bloodstream over several hours. Each time more fluid enters circulation, your kidneys respond again. This creates a repeating cycle of urine production throughout the night. The important point is that this is not caused by excessive fluid intake in the evening. It is caused by the redistribution of fluid that accumulated earlier in the day. This is why many common treatments fail to solve the problem. Reducing fluid intake in the evening does not address the fluid already stored in your tissues. Supplements targeting the bladder do not change how fluid is distributed in your body. Medications aimed at reducing urinary frequency may temporarily suppress the symptom, but they do not correct the underlying mechanism. The issue is not that your bladder is overactive, it is that your kidneys are being instructed to process excess fluid during the night. When the cause is misidentified, the treatment becomes ineffective. Many people spend years trying different solutions without improvement because they are addressing the wrong system. Understanding the true mechanism allows you to shift your focus toward the processes that actually control fluid balance and circulation. The most important concept to understand is timing. Your body is not producing too much fluid overall, it is producing it at the wrong time. Instead of eliminating excess fluid during the day when you are active and able to process it naturally, your body is shifting that workload to the night. This reversal disrupts sleep and places unnecessary strain on your system. The goal is not to reduce fluid entirely, but to restore the correct timing of fluid processing. When your body eliminates excess fluid earlier in the day, your kidneys can operate at a lower level during the night, allowing uninterrupted sleep. This shift in timing is the foundation of effective management. Once you understand this principle, the solution becomes much clearer. It is not about suppressing symptoms, but about guiding your body back to its natural rhythm. To solve this problem effectively, you first need to understand that not all nighttime urination is the same. There are different patterns, and each pattern has a different cause. The first type is when you produce large amounts of urine both during the day and at night. In this case, the issue is overall fluid production. This can be related to excessive fluid intake or metabolic conditions that affect how your body processes fluids. The second type is when everything seems normal during the day, but at night urine production increases significantly. This is the most common pattern and is directly linked to fluid redistribution in the body. The third type is when you feel frequent urges but produce very little urine each time. This points toward a bladder-related issue rather than a fluid imbalance. Recognizing which pattern applies to you is critical because treating the wrong type will not only fail but can sometimes make the situation worse. Most people fall into the second category, where the body shifts fluid processing to nighttime hours, creating repeated awakenings and disrupted sleep. There is a simple way to check if fluid accumulation in your body is contributing to this problem. It requires no equipment, only awareness. Sit down and locate the front of your lower leg, just above the ankle. Press firmly into the area for about 10 to 15 seconds, then release. If the skin immediately returns to its normal shape, fluid accumulation is minimal. But if a small indentation remains for several seconds, this indicates that fluid has been stored in the tissue. This condition is often unnoticed because it does not always cause visible swelling. However, that stored fluid does not stay there permanently. When you lie down at night, it returns to circulation and is processed by your kidneys. This simple test provides a direct clue about whether your body is holding excess fluid during the day and releasing it at night. It shifts your understanding from focusing on the bladder to examining how your entire circulatory system is functioning. Another effective way to understand what is happening in your body is by tracking your urine output over a full day. This does not require complex tools, just basic measurement. Record how much you urinate during the day and how much during the night. If a significant portion of your total output occurs at night, this indicates a shift in your body's processing pattern. Normally, the majority of urine production should occur during daytime hours. When the balance shifts toward nighttime, it suggests that your body is delaying fluid elimination. This delay is often linked to fluid accumulation during the day and redistribution at night. The key insight here is that your body is not producing more fluid overall, it is simply processing it at the wrong time. Once you see this pattern clearly, it becomes easier to understand why certain habits are not effective and why the focus needs to shift toward restoring proper timing. There are several factors that quietly contribute to this issue without being immediately obvious. One of the most significant is prolonged sitting or inactivity during the day. When movement is limited, the natural pumping action of your muscles decreases, allowing fluid to settle in the lower body. Another factor is the condition of your circulatory system. As blood vessels lose elasticity, they become less efficient at returning fluid to the upper body. Additionally, subtle cardiovascular strain can reduce the efficiency of circulation, leading to fluid retention. These contributors often develop gradually, which is why they are rarely recognized as part of the problem. Instead, attention is directed toward the bladder, while the actual cause remains unaddressed. Identifying these hidden factors is essential because they influence how your body manages fluid throughout the day and ultimately determine how much stress is placed on your system at night. Once you recognize the pattern, everything begins to make sense. The issue is not random. It follows a predictable sequence. Fluid accumulates during the day due to gravity and reduced circulation. When you lie down, that fluid returns to the bloodstream. Your kidneys respond by increasing urine production, and your sleep is interrupted. This cycle repeats every night until the underlying pattern is changed. The turning point comes when you stop treating the symptom and start addressing the cause. Instead of focusing on reducing nighttime urination directly, you focus on preventing fluid accumulation and improving circulation during the day. This shift in approach is what leads to real improvement, because once the pattern is broken, the nighttime symptoms begin to fade naturally. What you eat in the evening plays a much bigger role than most people realize. Certain foods act like delayed triggers, programming your body to eliminate fluid during the night instead of the day. One of the biggest hidden factors is sodium. Most people assume salt only comes from what they add to food, but the majority actually comes from processed items: cheese, bread, packaged meals, sauces, and cured meats. These foods increase sodium levels in your bloodstream, causing your body to retain water temporarily. This retention does not immediately lead to urination. Instead, the body holds on to that fluid, especially in the evening. Later, during the night, your kidneys begin removing the excess sodium, and water follows. This results in increased urine production while you are trying to sleep. The same pattern occurs with simple sugars. Consuming sweets or refined carbohydrates in the evening leads to spikes and drops in blood sugar, which can alter fluid balance and trigger delayed urination cycles. Alcohol also disrupts the hormonal signals that normally reduce urine production at night, leading to increased kidney activity. These factors do not act instantly, which is why they are often overlooked, but their delayed effect is one of the most common reasons people wake up repeatedly during the night. While certain foods disrupt fluid balance, others support it. Nutrients that improve muscle relaxation, circulation, and nerve stability can indirectly reduce nighttime disturbances. Foods rich in magnesium help relax smooth muscle tissue, including the bladder wall, allowing it to hold more volume before triggering the urge to urinate. Proper mineral balance also supports the nervous system, reducing unnecessary signals that create frequent urges. Additionally, maintaining a healthy digestive system plays a key role. When the digestive tract is overloaded or slow, it can place pressure on surrounding structures, including the bladder. This pressure reduces the bladder's functional capacity and increases sensitivity. By supporting digestion and reducing internal pressure, you allow the bladder to function more normally. The goal is not to follow a complex diet, but to avoid triggers and support balance. Small adjustments in food choices, especially in the evening, can reduce the workload placed on your kidneys during the night and improve overall stability. The most effective solution is not a single change, but a simple daily routine that aligns with your body's natural fluid management system. It begins in the morning with gentle activation of circulation. Light movement helps prevent fluid from settling in the lower body throughout the day. During daytime hours, fluid intake should be distributed earlier rather than concentrated in the evening. This allows your body to process fluids while you are active. In the evening, the focus shifts to reversing fluid accumulation before sleep. Elevating your legs for a short period allows stored fluid to return to circulation while you are still awake. This gives your kidneys time to process it before bedtime. After this process, urination occurs naturally, reducing the need for nighttime interruptions. This routine does not require special equipment or complex steps. It simply uses gravity and timing to guide your body's natural processes in a more efficient way. The effectiveness of this approach depends on consistency. One day of change may produce some improvement, but lasting results come from repeated patterns. The body adapts to routines. When you consistently manage fluid distribution during the day and evening, your system begins to reset its timing. Over time, the need for nighttime urination decreases because your body is no longer delaying fluid elimination. This is not an instant fix, but a gradual shift. Many people notice a reduction in nighttime awakenings within days, followed by more stable sleep patterns over weeks. The key is not perfection, but repetition. Small daily actions create long-term change. Your body is not working against you, it is responding to the conditions you create throughout the day. Nighttime urination is not random, and it is not something you simply have to accept. It is a signal that your fluid balance and timing are out of sync. Once you understand the mechanism, the solution becomes clear. Instead of focusing on suppressing the symptom, you focus on guiding your body back to its natural rhythm. This requires awareness, small adjustments, and consistency. The difference between waking up multiple times a night and sleeping uninterrupted often comes down to a few simple changes in routine. So the real question is, are you going to continue treating the symptom or start addressing the cause? If this changed the way you think about your health, share it with someone who needs it, and tell me, how many times do you wake up at night? Your answer might help someone else realize what's really happening.